Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another incredible episode of The Left Wing. I am TJ Whitehead, powers taking like given. Joined as always by my dear friend John Cooper Paz of Counterpoint Politics. John, how about them Knicks, man? How about them Knicks? What is happening? Have you seen what's been going on? We haven't talked about this one time. Go ahead.
People are calling it the Zoran Mamdani effect.
It's gotta be.
Takes office, and he immediately ends a multi-decade title drought for the New York Knicks. I mean, who could have seen it coming? Who could have seen it coming? And honestly, like that's in jest, but like the vibes in New York right now, they've just been wonderful. Crime is way down, homicides are way down, unemployment's down. They got fucking Zoran Mamdani paying children to go out in the streets and sell shit. We talked about that. Like it's been beautiful. Even the things that aren't his responsibility to fix are being fixed. Like, what more can you ask for?
I saw this clip. I think Kyle Kalinske shared it and showed Ben Shapiro saying that the New York Knicks need to lose this this championship to save them from like thinking Mamdani is a hero or whatever. And I was like, you know what? He's right. He's like, you know what? Because if the Knicks do win, Mamdani is going to get a ton of credit. May not have shot a basketball a day in his life. I don't know. But the vibes are just so powerful with this guy. And I mean, it's hard to imagine the fact that the New York Knickerbockers basketball club has not won a championship since like 1973, something crazy like that, since before I was born. That is long before I was born, that these people haven't won a championship, which is nuts considering how good the Knicks were, at least in the 90s. The Knicks were always a title contender throughout my childhood. They made the finals in 99, I think, when they were an 8 seed or something, but they've never won the title. And the fact that they haven't won in this long is kind of crazy. And then the way they are playing these games, like last night's game was just insane. I don't know if you're San Antonio Spurs, how you could possibly recover from a loss like that. 30 points, man, 30 fucking points. And losing the way they did off a free Brunson that almost went in. I mean, that thing was like that far from hitting. And then the best tip I've ever seen in my life. I mean, like they drew it up. Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna miss this three. You're gonna come into this exact angle, tap it, and right in the basket. Amazing. Like, it was magical. I don't give a shit about the Knicks, and I want them to win so fucking badly.
I even more so. I hate the Knicks as a Sixers fan. And I also want them to win so fucking badly. Like it is truce right now. I will root for the Knicks against the Spurs, and I'll pretend that I never did immediately after their victory. And it's fun. Like, this is a cultural moment right now.
It is. It is.
It really is. Like, everyone's talking about it. Trump going to the game and getting booed. Can we talk about that for a second? They win 17 straight games. The moment Trump shows up, they lose. I don't know if it was 17. I could be wrong about that. It was
in the teens. It was in the teens, like 13, 14. Yeah, it was in the teens.
And either way, it's ridiculous. And I loved every bit of that appearance from Donald Trump in the Knicks game was absolute poetry. First, he shuts down the city of New York. They have to cancel their watch parties all around the stadium so that Donald Trump can attend this game, which he ends up falling asleep during on camera, because of course he would, and then gets booed so hard. I don't think I've ever heard. I'm a Philly sports fan. I know my boos. We have a very refined palate when it comes to boos. That was one of the most intense boos I have ever heard at any sporting event ever. And you know, it must. If I became president, whatever, and I went to an Eagles game and I got booed, it would be heartbreaking, TJ. Like, he's a New Yorker. He is a New Yorker. They are rejecting one of their own. It must sting a little bit more.
It does. And like you were mentioning with the security and stuff and how shut down, if anyone has ever lived in a major metropolitan area with a professional sports team, like I've lived in several over the years, Atlanta, Chicago, St. Louis, Indianapolis. When there's a big game that goes on, you can't get anywhere. The traffic is just backed up for hours on end. That's for a normal game. It's even worse for a playoff game Worse still, for a championship game, the Final Fours in Indianapolis like twice in the last few years, terrible. You couldn't get anywhere. And at times, I would see, this is after Mike Pence was vice president. You still get to keep your Secret Service, after your term and everything. Sometimes Mike Pence would come into town, and his motorcade, you knew it was there because it backed traffic. This is for a former vice president, by the way, that backs up the traffic. And like the current sitting president of the United States going to New York City of all places, like, that would kill the vibes. That absolutely kill the vibe. Even if these people were, I don't think there's anyone in the country who is, undecided on Trump or neutral on Trump. You're either for him or against him at this point. But if you had like a soft positive of Donald Trump, like, man, why are you fucking this up? Why? And he killed the juju. This is why I hope that the Knicks win the next game, because not only is Mom Donny going to get a bunch of credit for the superstition, Trump's going to get all the blame for it too. It's like, wow, Trump showed up and we lost the game. This makes perfect sense. I'm all for this. I'm loving every bit of this.
Hold on. I got to go to the comments here because
Sure.
I was going to respond to this guy in all seriousness, which I still am, because he asked us, will liberals ever admit to one thing they like about President Trump? Stay tuned. I will. Grandy Garden. But he also said Trump wins Abraham Accord. Buddy, when do you think the Abraham Accords? First of all, it says Abraham Accord. Very funny. Is there a different thing called the Abraham Accord that isn't the Abraham Accords?
No, it's the Abraham Accords. Right, it's the Abraham Accords.
I thought it was the Abraham Accords. Am I wrong?
It's Abraham. It's Abraham.
Okay.
It's Abraham.
Either way, it was in the 90s. It was. Am I thinking something completely different?
I don't know what you're thinking about. You're thinking about, I don't know, but the Abraham Accords was the deal that Trump worked out between UAE and Israel and Saudi Arabia, I think, with trade deals, with negotiating stuff and so forth. It's one of the things Trump likes to tout out, that look at the wars I ended with the Abraham Accords and everything. This guy keeps putting libbies. I think he means lobbies, but he keeps, liberals, I see. But yeah, it was like a trade deal, a trade partnership they had with the Middle East countries, where peace in the Middle East and peace with Israel, but it's with a bunch of countries that were already trading with each other. It didn't really stop any war functions. You see what I'm talking about?
Yes, I did. I'm getting something very confused. I'm feeling like I'm having like a total Mandela effect moment right now. I'm just absolutely. So I bought Granny's Garden. You win on that one. 1 point you. I definitely lost on the names of things there. But I do want to say one thing I like about Trump, and it's that and it relates directly to what we were just saying, is that he genuinely does understand the value of winning. The perceived value of winning is way higher than it is in reality. And we see this in sports all the time. That win yesterday by the Knicks, it's incredible. It's amazing. It basically took it from a 50-50 series to they're almost certainly going to win the championship now. And any tiny thing could have went the different way, and it wouldn't have worked out the way they did. And we'd have an entirely different narrative we're talking about. We're talking about Zohran Mamdani being seen as a savior in jest, but we know that is how human beings think. We know how the perception of a winner can completely change your confidence in them. Even if you know deep in your heart that one or two things going a different way could completely change this person's career and wouldn't make them be perceived as a winner, I'm still going to be more confident in them as winning a sporting game, winning a political fight, whatever it is, because they continue to win. It's why he cannot admit to losing the 2020 election. It strategically, it sounds really dumb, and it is, but it works. It works. As long as he is perceived as a winner, he will continue to win. Winning generates belief, which generates more winning, especially in politics. And he gets that better than anyone else. It's why he will not ever admit defeat, because he realizes if he never admits defeat and he eventually wins, winners write the history book. So he can just rewrite that loss, and he will continue his momentum of winning. It's how he gets it done. And I wish the Democrats could learn from him on that one. So there you go, Grandy. I see you're still blowing up our comments. Trying to help you out. I'm giving him a fucking compliment here.
Yeah, Grandy has he has us muted. He's just pounding away, or he's a machine, more likely than not. I'm guessing this is a bot. This is kind of insane how this just keeps rolling and rolling. I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but it's like 30 comments in a row. This guy is just cranking stuff out over and over again with Trump. and his inability to admit a loss and everything. Yeah, it's true. Oh, sorry. Actually, what I was going to go to first is you mentioned that we're speaking descriptively, not prescriptively, in that human beings like a winner, and we're also like superstitious savages in a lot of ways. That we believe ourselves to be these enlightened and intelligent people that you have empirical data and science and everything, but we're superstitious as hell, especially sports fans. Sports fan, talk to any sports fan about anything they do. They have like a routine they do before their team plays to help them win or something like that. That's just the people who watch the game. People who play the game, it's even worse. They have whole little things they go through. And you know what I hate to admit about this, John, is that well, at least the people who play, not the people who watch. That doesn't really matter as far as I know. But I hate little unanswered questions when it comes to psychology and placebo and the power of positive thought. I hate how murky that is. I really wish it was more open and shut, but it's way more complicated than we think. The fact that placebo works at all blows my mind. That yeah, at a certain point, people if you trick them into thinking they're better, they will get better. That your body just works like that. Or if you ever read like these psychological statements where people are like, oh yeah, they do it's like positive journaling or something, where you say nice things to yourself, or you speak to yourself in the mirror and say confident phrases. Ridiculous shit, absurd. But every time you look up data on it, it works. It tricked your brain into thinking that you're actually better than you are. I hate that that's true, but there is something to it. But we lean way more into that than we actually should. And with Donald Trump, him not admitting defeat, we'll get to it a little bit later, I'm sure. But this thing with Iran, he may have met his match. I think he actually met his match on this. That I don't know how many more days he has left of. We are days away. They are begging for a deal. We've got this war won. I don't even think Republicans believe this anymore, especially after the events the last couple of days.
Yeah, no, it is really like I'm seeing everyone turn on him over Iran because it is an indefensible position. The thing he can't do is just win and declare victory. What I just said, it's his biggest problem because he cannot show any sort of victory here, and he also cannot admit defeat. But the longer it drags on.
Uh-oh, did we lose John? No, John, are you there?
Did I cut out there, TJ?
Yeah, you cut out there. You said the longer it draws on, and then there you cut out.
The longer it draws on, the more damage that he takes politically. The more gas prices rise, the more the American people get upset at him, the more Republicans begin to turn on him. It's just an unwinnable situation because Iran also will not admit defeat. But the interesting part of this whole kerfuffle is that they never have to. They have nothing to lose. They don't have to move. They're right there. All they have to do is keep blowing up anything in the Strait of Hormuz. It's very impossible to stop them from doing that without literally invading the country and completely taking it over. And even then, you probably still have, sparse militant groups doing the same exact thing, and you're billions of dollars in the hole, and you're still in this position, even if you win that ground war. So yeah, he's just done. He's doing the thing again where he's like, oh, well, we have a ceasefire deal, and it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. It's never gonna happen. I think we're very right that this lasts as long as Trump does.
Yeah. And speaking of the effect it's having on the economy and everything, that's what we put in front of the caption for the thumbnail in the video, that Trump loving our economic suffering. Did you hear his quote about him loving the inflation, John?
Absolutely wonderful, teacher. Do you want to play it? It's just music.
Yeah, let's go.
Sure, the right people come into our country. I will. I will.
Are you concerned, Mr. President, about the latest inflation number which came out this morning? Could that be a
No, I love it. The numbers were great. You know what I really love? I love the inflation. You know why? Because as soon as this war is over, I can say it now. Something you didn't know. Do you know we've been taking out millions of barrels of oil? Nobody knows it. You know who doesn't know about it? Iran, until right now. We took out the other night 22 ships, late at night with no lights, because they don't have any radar, because we blasted the crap out of it. We took out, that's why oil's $85 a barrel. And you take a look. remember when I did this, I said, look, the one bad thing will be we hit the best economy we've ever hit. And I said to my people, I had Scott, I had Howard, I had Pete, I had all of them. I had Todd in the room. I said, the one thing we have to do now, we had just hit the highest stock market in history, highest 401ks in history. Everything was going well. And I said, I hate to do this to you guys, but Iran's going to have a nuclear weapon very soon. We have to go and attack. So we hit them with the B-2 bombers.
All right, John. So, what about our boy? What about our boy loving the inflation? The inflation this last month went to 4.2%. When Biden left office, inflation was, I think, 2.8, 2.9 or something like that. At its highest, inflation like 12% under Biden or whatever. But that was in 2023, and by the time Biden left, it was down under 3%. Trump has now got us up to 4%, and he loves it. I've seen a lot of conservatives talk about this, saying, why would he say something like that? Why is he trying? Because listen, I can't think of a better commercial to cut right there where Trump says, I love the inflation, which it's not going to get much better by the time November hits, folks. Hate to break that to you, but he's just kind of handing Democrats victories on that one.
It's wild that anyone who is a successful politician enough to become the president of the United States would ever say the words, I love inflation, live on camera under any circumstances. And here's the thing, TJ, a lot of times when you see those political attack ads, you see a little clip cut out of something, and the average person might believe, but like decently intelligent human beings go, that's obviously there's something else there. There is no, he literally just said that unironically, without explanation. He's just like, yeah, I love the inflation that I am causing. Please quote that. Like it's basically what he said. I didn't even understand his reasoning behind saying that. I really didn't. He's like, his reasoning is, I love it because we're stealing oil. We're just stealing oil from a sovereign nation. That's why I love inflation. It's a wonderful explanation.
He said that I love the inflation. You know why? Because once this war is over, it's going to drop like a rock, which does not make sense. Yeah, and even if it did, it still wouldn't be a reason to like the inflation now, because it will be better later once I clean up my mess. That it's like a straight, I don't know, I guess he just has to, he can't admit a defeat. He has to present everything is 4D chess. He's playing right into their hands. And yes, I forgot all about you know why? I'm announcing this for the first time, which means he literally is. No one else in the room, no one else on planet Earth had heard this sentence or about this. He's like, we actually, over the last month and a half or whatever, we have stolen 20 million barrels of oil from Iran. How? No explanation. We did it in the middle of the night when they had no radar. We were watching. And so I think it was, of all people, Sagar and Jetty. I saw him tweet about this, saying that, let's say Trump is not lying, which is a big stretch, like a big jump right there to say that he's being truthful about this. You're telling me that we took 20 million barrels of oil from Iran over the last 40 days. All it cost us were a couple of aircrafts, an Apache helicopter, billions of dollars that could have gone somewhere else. 13 dead American service members to get 1/10 of the oil that we would have gotten in the first place if we hadn't done anything. That's not a victory, man. It's not. And let's say he did find a way to sneak. I don't believe him for a second, by the way. I don't believe him for a second that we got 20 million barrels of oil. That's nothing. That's nothing. We're going to burn through that in no time at all. And it's going to take 6 months for it to reach the United States anyway. These tankers moving, they're like riding a bicycle to the other side of the planet. He's just stretching for anything he possibly can at this point. If anything, it's fun to watch, because you're right. The conservatives are just, grasping at any straws they can find and try to defend this.
And here's the thing, TJ. I am now of the belief that his advisors are literally telling him what he wants to hear, and then he's reporting to us as if it's factual, because he's Costanzaing us. He truly believes that we stole 20 million barrels of oil because someone told him, someone whose job it is to report factual information to the president of the United States told him that. He also said today, he was like, actually, the Strait of Hormuz has been open. Hundreds of boats have been going through. Nobody just knows about it. And I heard him say that, and I was like, no, Don. So I could hear the advisor saying, oh, don't worry, Mr. President. the Strait of Hormuz is actually open. It's just a secret. We're keeping it a secret for negotiation purposes. Nobody knows about it. And then Donny just repeats that to the press because no one will ever call him out. I mean, the people call him out, and it doesn't fucking matter. He has no consequences in his life. So that's what happens when you surround yourself with yes men and you have no consequences for anything ever, is you start to believe things that just fundamentally are not true. Like that, the Strait of Hormuz is open. It's not. We know. We're paying for the fucking oil.
Oh, isn't I when the other night when we had the news come across that we had an Apache helicopter shot down by the Iranians and our pilot survived. By the way, my God, the oh shit, I know what this stands for. I can't remember. SEER school. God, this is so embarrassing being someone seek, evade, and something avoid capture. No, fuck. Someone's gonna call me out on that. But in SEER school, they teach you what to do if you're ever, shot down and across any line, something like that. Incredible work. Every time we get we get an aircraft shot down, our guys are perfectly fine. They're perfectly fine. They get away and then they're cool. But we keep losing aircraft, and it's not a good look. Like, we are generally losing this war to Iran. We're losing it. There's no way we can win it. I mean, did you hear Trump? First, his response was, now that they've attacked us, our boys flying and everything, we're going to hit Iran with everything they've got. We're gonna go after the water supply. We're gonna go after their electrical grid, so on and so forth. He's called off the attacks and everything, but it just made me think, wow, no one's afraid of us anymore. Like, why would you be afraid of the United States anymore if the Iranians aren't afraid? You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying. I want to address two comments here. One from Cole Old saying, no one has a Bob Marley poster and doesn't enjoy some herbs. True.
Well, yeah,
very true. And also, I got to respond to this comment from Recovering Liberal. This guy is saying this while Biden played Weekend at Obama's. Okay, so two things here, Recovering Liberal. One, you're coming to the wrong channel if you don't think we didn't say that Biden should have fucking resigned as president a long time ago because he wasn't up for the job. Go back to our old episodes. You will see that. Second, brother, there is a very well-known politician in the Democratic Party named Bernie. You could have just said Weekend at Bernie's and the pun would have landed better. This is why, this is why we have our job. You have yours. Like, you gotta be quicker than that.
I gotta say this, John, you may or may not have known this, but I don't know if any of the listeners out there, but weird trivia about Bob Marley. Did you guys know that Bob Marley's dad was white? Did you know that, John?
No, I did not.
He did. Bob Marley's dad was a white guy, with the whitest looking guy with the whitest name. He's like, there you go. This is Bob Marley's dad on the right. His name was Norval Sinclair Marley. He was just some now, I learned this like in college or something like that, because like when I think Bob Marley is like black guy, black excellence or whatever, like, oh wait, his dad was white and his name was Norval Sinclair. I can't get over that. That's just a weird little trivia right there. It's all about Bob Marley. It's always the first thing I think about. I don't think about One Love. I don't think about, the cancer or the dread. I think, oh yeah, Bob Marley with this weird, goofy, but not even a cool looking white guy. Like a white guy with a goofy name and a goofy outfit and yeah, just a goofy look all together. And that's how he ended up raising Bob Marley. That's beyond me.
Yeah, I also don't know why this hazed Scoopers keeps bringing up George Floyd. What does George Floyd have anything to do with
George Floyd? Yeah, I don't know.
We guys in the comments, we do try to address the comments. We want to address the comments. But if you hit us with 18 comments in a row, we're not going to know what the fuck you're saying. I'm just putting it out there. If you want us to respond, we would love to respond, but a wall of text isn't gonna get it done here.
The George Floyd thing is an interesting peek into the right-wing mind, because it's this thing with Trump, for example. The fact that Donald Trump is flailing, that the economy is worse than it's been in years, the Iran war is obviously going terribly, Trump keeps focusing on these strange vanity projects that by themselves, honestly, I could not give less of a shit about him repainting the pool at the Washington Monument. Why would I care at all? That seems like a normal thing, right? But he keeps making these big bombastic statements about how this is going to be the best thing ever, where people can't afford to put gas in their vehicle, their paychecks are worth less and less every single month, and he keeps talking about these renovations. He put this 200-foot tall arch in Washington. It's like, man, this is you got to read the room here, buddy. All this is falling apart, and they can't admit, yeah, that's a bad look. He shouldn't do that. Or I'm not for Trump on that. I think he made a mistake with the Iran war. I wish he would spend less time doing this. I think that the UFC cage fight is kind of goofy. They can't do this. They have to defend him, support him, and more importantly than anything, love him. They have to give him all of their allegiance and all their love. So they assume that we think the same way. John and I talk about this all the time, that George Floyd, which was, 6 years ago or something at this point. I mean, George was a very long time ago. And we'd say, yeah, George Floyd should not have been suffocated to death on the pavement. That wasn't right. And they immediately think, you love George Floyd. You think George Floyd was some sort of American hero. Don't you know that he had a rap sheet a mile long? Don't you know that he abused his, pregnant girlfriend or something? Don't you know that he was just a joke? It's like, all right, sure, whatever. He still did not deserve to be suffocated on the road. That's all we're saying. Like, no one thinks he, well, I mean, maybe some people do, but I've yet to find someone that says George Floyd is an American hero. George Floyd is someone, no, he was just a symbol of, oh yeah, that shouldn't happen. Police brutality is wrong, no matter how bad of a person you are. The rights extended to you to the Constitution of the United States, those apply to good people and bad. I hate to break it to you, and they apply to citizens and non-citizens. That's what the whole point of the American experiment is. But we just say, yeah, these people shouldn't be treated like animals or slaughtered or something like that, and they think you worship them. That's the only way they can interpret this. And it gets kind of frustrating sometimes.
And that definitely, I see that on the left too. It's not exclusively a Republican thing. You definitely see that from Democrats as well, but it's more a Republican thing. Like, they very much, we've said this many times, the only way to see any sort of ideological consistency in their positions is to assume that their only process is what is good for my in-group is good and what is bad for my in-group is bad. Just take a look there with the George Floyd stuff. What we're saying is, yeah, he's not a saint. But really no one deserves to be choked to death by a cop, because the cop should be defending them just as much as they defend everyone else, because they are assumed innocent before proven guilty. This is not a radical position. This is a very clear common sense position. We have a whole amendment about it, right? But the thing is, they also want to have a victimization slush fund to give to the people who stormed the Capitol on January 6th. There is no logically consistent way to say that the people who broke into the U.S. Capitol building deserve to receive financial compensation, but George Floyd deserves to be choked to death by a cop. There's no consistent way to actually hold those two positions unless you just don't give a shit and you're saying what's good for my in-group is good, what's bad for my in-group is bad. And it's okay, you can admit that, guys. That's totally, that is a very practical political position, which I will completely support you dying on that hill, because it's a very strong, well-protected hill. But just admit it to me. Like, if you want to have a good faith conversation with me, just admit that point.
Yes, I agree. LeVar Burton, 69, commented, whenever Trump does something dumb, the what about George Floyd crowd shows up. They're simple folks. Yes, they are. Listen, like John said, all of this isn't necessarily specific to right wingers across the board, but I get really tired of it. Whenever you criticize Trump, hey, Trump says that he would end the war in Ukraine on day one. Trump said he would cut inflation in half. He hasn't done any of that stuff. They go, well, what about him? All right, but Biden wasn't even on the ballot last time. Okay, I'm sorry. Like, an answer for your guy, like, to say what you want him to say. And John, yes, whoever the idiot on here is saying you can't say anything nice about Trump. And John said that there are some things I think we can learn from Trump. I want to learn something from the right wingers too, in that I want us to have the same ends justify the means type of politics that they have, where they say, yeah, Trump is our guy. You can tell me all, you can say access Hollywood tape. You can say Epstein files. You can say multiple fraud convictions. You can talk about FBI investigations, rape convictions. I don't care. He's my guy. I want him in. God damn, I wish we had more of that on the left. I cannot believe how many videos and think pieces and articles I have to hear about Graham fucking Plattner with like a guy who's running for Senate in Maine. In Maine. Like not even a massive state. It's just some state with a bunch of I'm gonna say a bunch of Northern Hicks. I don't know what you call them. How would you call Hicks that live on the
fair, TJ. I think they would all be very okay with you describing them that way.
Yeah, it's like a few 100,000 people voting in this election, whatever. And it's a national fucking conversation that this guy sent dick pics, not even unsolicited ones, by the way. Like these are just like dick pics. It's like, yeah, okay, he's a man under 50. That happens. Okay, that's not a shock. Like you guys haven't done it, right? Not you guys are nice, sensible folks. But even the Nazi tattoo thing. I'm a pretty well-educated guy, right? I've been around, I know stuff, and I had no idea that was a Nazi tattoo. No idea. Apparently, I'm the only one, which I don't buy for a second. I do not believe for a second that if I took, even today, even after this conversation is going on over the internet, if I rounded up 100 random people and showed them that skull and crossbones and say, hey, what is that? 5 of them would say, "Oh yeah, that's the Nazi." No, you don't know that. Like, what? And plus, when you hear Nazi tattoo, you think swastika. That's what you think. Okay, everyone knows that one. Or SS lightning bolts, or even an iron cross. I'd grant any of those, but I saw that thing. I was like, really? I didn't know that was a Nazi tattoo. I would have never guessed that in a million years. And look, once again, it's the same thing with George Floyd. Like what do the Trump supporters say? We're electing a president, not a pastor. Listen, Graham Plattner might be a terrible person. Who knows? I don't think he's a Nazi. I don't buy that for a second because I haven't seen anything in his past that shows him supporting Nazi rhetoric, Nazi ideology. If you got examples of that, I'd love to see. The tattoo is not enough, right? Because I wouldn't have known it was a Nazi tattoo either. But all I care about, and all anyone should care about, if you're against Donald Trump, is do you believe he'll be a reliably blue vote in the Senate? If so, then that's the way it is. Fuck off. Like, find something else to talk about. Like all this whining about how Trump. Oh, I should find the video of Trump saying that he's a problematic guy. But go ahead, John. What do you have to say about this?
I also wanted to say, Grandy's Garden said, "Not sentence, not a felon." That's not how the law works. Sorry if you're convicted of a felony, you're a felon. That's just the description of those words. But the Graham Plattner thing, TJ, I am sick and tired of it because I understand. I understand being hesitant about the guy. I understand treating him with a short leash. I understand being worried that he's just trying to say certain things to get in power, and then he's going to flip flop as soon as he gets in. I would be lying if I said I am 100% confident that is not the case. But what I can say is that everything he's saying he wants to do and will do and standing up for is good. And you might be worried he might flip-flop to be bad, but the other option is someone who's voted with the Nazis like 98% of the time in Susan Collins. Like if you're really worried about him potentially being a Nazi because he had a tattoo that could be related to the Nazis, and then, by the way, when he found out about it, immediately got the tattoo removed and apologized for it. Like you're comparing him to Susan Collins. Like what? If you're a Republican, I understand what you're doing. Totally.
Exactly. Yeah.
But the Democrats who are doing it are insane. The Democrats who are going, I've heard multiple Democrats say that he has sexual assault allegations. No, the fuck he does not. There has not been one sexual assault allegation against him. He was sexting consensually with another adult that he wasn't dating. He was mildly cheating. That is the allegation. And I hear Democrats saying that it's a sexual assault allegation. And it's just mind-blowing that they are, after the entire vote blue, no matter who, drama of the 2024 election, not that I can't believe it, I can totally believe it, but the fact that these people have the fucking balls to continue to punch left on Graham Plattner by making up and spreading false sexual assault allegations against him is utterly insane. Just utterly insane, deranged behavior from those people. I will tell you that, TJ.
Yeah, this is big boy time, right? This is big boy time. Like, do you want Susan Collins in the Senate or not? Like, do you want? Because that's all. Listen, that's what we did. And any criticism that we had, because like what they would say to us is that, well, you guys complain about Harris. Oh, the only complaints that we ever made about Harris were things she changed for her campaign, saying, yeah, maybe you shouldn't wait a month and a half before you get in front of a camera when you launch your campaign. Maybe you should do that. Maybe you should go on these popular podcasts and not, limit yourself to home court friendly territory. Also, maybe you shouldn't campaign with the Cheneys. Just stuff that we believe could have helped her campaign, right? There would be no point with Kamala Harris running for president and us whining that she was a district attorney and locked people up. Well, what is that going to change? So that doesn't matter. All of it was like positives that you could help for in the future. I haven't heard these folks say anything about what Plattner can do to help himself win. It's just, hey, he's a bad guy. You should be ashamed. What does it say about us if we vote for him? One, like, I doubt you're from Maine. If you're from Maine and talking about this, I'll take you seriously. Most of the people from the other 49 states bitching and complaining about Graham Plattner when, I'm sorry, we lost the privilege to whine about this stuff a long fucking time ago. Especially when has Trump been at a lower point than he is right now? I know, like, with the polls, it's not. I've been in the polls, he's definitely at the lowest he's been. Then where his people have a hard time defending him. There's a fracture about the Iran war amongst the Republicans. There's a fracture about Israel. No one can deny the economy is worse. Why on earth are we doing a circular firing squad of Democrats at this point? It is kind of crazy.
It is crazy. And you're right. Like, he has not been, like, Trump has not been at a lower point ever. Like, even after losing in 2020, I didn't see, like, Tucker Carlson's of the world going against him yet. And he has lost substantial support within the Republican Party. Way more than he actually lost. Like he is at the worst level of support he's ever had. And
the support, I think that he's lost more support amongst like Republican politicians. I don't think Republican voters have tanked all that much, maybe a little bit. But listen, why on earth? I would love any Republican out there to answer this question for me. Every Republican who voted to release the Epstein files has been targeted by Donald J. Trump. Why? Why is it that people who would have done anything for Trump, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, Thomas Massey, Nancy Mace, they said, actually, we think the Epstein files should be released. I don't care what Donald Trump says. And Donald Trump has fired all his weapons upon them. I mean, like a Superfly TNT, the guns of the Navarone. Did you see Nancy Mace just lost her primary to try to become governor of South Carolina? They're all losing their jobs left and right. Why? Because they said the Epstein files should be released. Why? And please answer me that. Any Republicans out there, why is that the case? Why is Donald Trump so fucking pissed that these Republicans voted for a bill that ended up passing? And what's crazy is they still haven't released everything. So why is he? This is just spite at the point. What is the point of the spite? Why are they so angry about this? Yeah, there's a lot of fire turned again. This is not the time for us to be eating ourselves.
I know, right? And just circling back to something you said about Graham Plattner there that I want to address, but didn't quite get to, is that the tattoo removal thing and how he doesn't have any track record of any Nazi ideology or beliefs. And he immediately got it removed once he learned it was a Nazi tattoo. That is what makes it acceptable to have that. It's not some thing where once you do it, you're permanently evil. People make mistakes. It's the same thing you see with when people like put up like Elon's Nazi salute and try to put like other politicians who waved their arm in that direction. And it's like, here's the thing. Those people that you're referring to, the action of moving your arm in that manner is not what is evil. It is indicative of the message you seem to be trying to send. That is the difference. When you have a long history of fascist Nazi ideology, being repeatedly expressed over and over again, and then you make a Nazi salute, we're going to call it a Nazi salute. If you have fought against basically everything the Nazis stood for your entire political career, and then you wave to the crowd and someone takes a picture and it looks like you're giving a Nazi salute, I'm sorry, I'm not going to just sit there and say he must be a Nazi. It's like people don't actually give a shit about why the Nazi salute is bad. And you see this a lot of times for Republicans. They do the same thing with like racism and stuff, where it's like, oh, well, recasting a white character to be black, that's the same thing as recasting this black character as a white person. It's like, no, it's not. No, it's not, because there hasn't been a long-standing history of black characters being replaced by white actors in Hollywood. There has been, and it has not been the other way around. The reason it's bad to racially recast someone who was a minority as a white person is because of a long-standing history of discrimination against actors of color. That's it. That's the reason. That's why it doesn't work the other way around. But everyone wants to just have hard and fast rules for all of their morality and can't possibly try to engage with the nuance of different actions being moral in some cases and immoral in others. It's too much. It's a bridge too far to ask these people to cross, DJ.
Yeah, this is the this is a Ben Shapiro thing. I feel like this is something Ben Shapiro does a lot, where they reduce every argument to obtuse pedantry, where it's like pretending like I don't know, if someone says, it's like pretending the terms wise man, saying someone's a wise man and someone's a wise guy. Well, they're the same thing, right? A wise man and a wise guy. I don't know why one would upset you. No, like, you know what these words mean, but even if on paper you can say they mean the same thing, they don't. And they do this all the time. Like they'll say that, you know, like a black community trying to get together. Say, oh, well, this is exclusive. Like in the 60s or 70s or whatever, we had segregation. And then you had like black groups coming together and say, okay, well, if, you know, we're not going to be allowed to join into everything else, we'll create our own spaces. Well, that's actually racist of you to be ignoring black people. What do you got there, Starred?
Oh, I got a couple of things, Starred. We got LeVar Burton 69. Great fucking name. I love that he has the LeVar Burton picture too. Graham's not qualified, but a plumber's qualified to run DHS and real estate guy qualified to run DNI. Yeah, like this is asymmetric warfare that you're trying to fight here. Every single DEI accusation, it just looks laughably bad when you look at the just lack of complete qualification for all of Trump's nominations. Dr. Oz is serving an official capacity of the U.S. government. I never want to hear anything about a DEI leading to people, unqualified people, serving important roles ever fucking again. John,
Linda McMahon is the Secretary of Education. But why the fuck is Linda McMahon the Secretary of Education? Please let me know, what were her qualifications? What are her credentials that have that role? She's her husband is friends with Donald Trump, so she got one of the most important jobs in the country. Yeah, this is that. And look, this DEI thing is all right. Sorry, John. Do another thing. Start. I won't take over. Go ahead. What was the other story?
The other thing I was going to say, and this is real quick. John Q. Public says Graham Plattner admits he has PTSD. He's not well enough to be a senator. Here's the thing, John Q. Public. I don't give a shit. That was a primary. If you're a Republican, John Q, I don't think you are based on some of your other comments. But you're obviously going to attack Graham Plattner for that. Totally okay. Again, acceptable. But if you're a Democrat saying that, why? Because how bad must his PTSD to have a worse voting record than Susan Collins? He must have a panic attack every single fucking time he goes to vote, and his PTSD causes him to vote red instead of blue 98% of the time in order for him to be worse than Susan fucking Collins. Like he could wet his pants on the floor of Congress every single fucking day, and as long as he votes blue, I do not give a flying fuck. He doesn't have the nuclear. This is maybe an argument you can make about like the president, where it's like, oh, you don't want the guy with the nuclear. The senator can't do shit because of his PTSD other than vote incorrectly. And he basically would have to be voting incorrectly every single time to be worse than Susan Collins. So I really don't understand that argument.
Yeah, I'm gonna assume that John Q. Public, although that name sounds familiar. I feel like
he's been here before. I feel like I've heard comments from John Q. Public before.
Okay, and I know John Q. Public is a common term, folks. I'm not saying that that's why it sounds familiar. I think a commenter named John Q. Public is ringing a bell for me. But I really hope that that is a Republican comment because, like, I'm like the lefties or the Democrats who are all upset about this are just really driving me insane. When we have bigger fish to fry. This shouldn't be talked about at all. And I saw this thing. It was I can't remember where it was. The Atlantic, I think. And the guy writing the article was talking about Graham Plattner. This makes it seem like, I don't know. It does make it sound like Graham Plattner's a buddy of mine. Yeah, he was in the military. I often say you can't trust anyone who's been in the military. Don't do it. But that they said that, well, Graham Plattner pretends to be a working class guy, but let's see if he's really a working class guy. He doesn't really work. Graham Plattner has two sources of income. He has his retirement disability from the VA. And he also owns an oyster farm, and he sells the oysters to a restaurant owned by his family. That's not a real working man. I say, what are you talking about? Where's the problem here? Like the guy, he makes like $200,000 a year or something, like between his retirement disability payments and an oyster farm. I was like, those are legitimate forms of income. What are we talking about here? He would probably still be the brokest person in the Senate, even with a $200,000 a year income. And people are wringing their hands about this. It's like bizarre world. And people complaining about James Tallarico. Are we mad? Oh, that's right. People were mad about James Tallarico because he beat Jasmine Crockett. That's right. I remember people being upset about that. But once again, that it's over. Like, these primary arguments, fine, entertain them all day long. John and I are for it. We want the strongest candidate to win, the candidate with the best options. Once that candidate wins, I'm shut the fuck up. Or I'm doing everything I can to glaze them. Unless they're making a step that I don't like, that I think is going to hurt them, like we did with Kamala Harris. Like, oh yeah, that's a bad idea. Don't do that. But we're not going to be shitting on them and hoping, bringing up things they can't change. I don't get it.
Yeah, no, if you go back to what we said about Kamala Harris, as TJ mentioned before, it was all strategic criticism. We criticized her for things like not distancing herself from a incredibly unpopular president in Joe Biden. That is a very legitimate criticism, which is aimed at trying to improve her chances of winning. When you're making criticisms of Graham Plattner that aren't related to anything that he's currently doing in order to win, but instead just attacks on him as a person, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? How is that going to benefit us? How is that going to help fight fascism, right? It isn't. And you know what, TJ? I don't care. It's annoying for me to see, but like Graham Plattner's laughing with this all the way to the fucking bank. Like, he has now, because of all of this opposition to him, he's now a national fucking name, and he really shouldn't be. There's no reason that he really should be, and he is because of all of the fucking opposition to him from the Democratic Party, not even Republicans. Republicans just hop on it because the Democrats made it hot. Like, and Graham Plattner's laughing all the way to the bank, guys. I hate to break it to you.
All right, this is that actually transitions this video here that I pulled up a while ago and forgot to show perfectly. This is Donald Trump, of all fucking people, talking about Plattner. Here we go.
He was so bad. He's a bad guy, just a bad guy. He must be laughing up his sleeve when he looks at these idiots going like Schumer, well, he's okay. He's not okay. Can you imagine if the Republicans had him?
Oh my God.
How about if we had him, John? So
We don't let it happen.
I really believe it. If it meant losing the Senate, you would not let that happen.
Correct.
It's just a terrible thing. I mean, I watch it happening. It's unfolding. It's really history because there's never been a guy like that that's ever run for office. At any level. I don't think at any level. And the excuses, they come up every day. Somebody comes forward with really proven stuff. Even his business, he's not a businessman at all. His parents supported him. He's a loser. Other than that, he might be a very nice guy.
You know what's funny? I just read Trump never mentioned Plattner's name in that. He could have been talking about himself the entire time. He literally could have been talking about himself the entire time. Tons of accusations. His parents supported him and all that. I can't believe that they would run this guy with all the allegations he has. And by the way, Trump's allegations dwarf anything Plattner has. We all know this. And also saying that the Republicans would never run someone like this, even if it meant that they could lose the Senate. When I got to remind everyone that just a few years ago, the Republicans ran Roy Moore, who had had all these accusations about him being a pedophile, about him like trying to date a 14-year-old girl when he was in his 30s. They ran him anyway. So of course that's not true. But what's great about this, John, is that you were saying that you and Trump were both saying that Plattner is laughing all the way to the bank because Trump is helping out on this. If you kept this as a regional Senate race, a Maine Senate race that only people in the Northeast, actually only people in Maine care about, that's one thing. Now you've made it not Plattner versus Collins. You've made it Plattner versus Trump, which is way better for Plattner. That if Plattner versus Donald Trump, Plattner's winning that one, especially this year, and Donald Trump is helping out with that. Bad move by Trump right there. His political instinct should be better than that.
TJ, I could see the political ad of Trump, that clip of Trump playing over headlines about Donald Trump. And you're right, he never mentioned Graham Plattner's name. He wrote it himself on the spot. And it's almost uncanny. It's almost like if I was writing that, if I wanted to make that ad from scratch, I would have Donald Trump say exactly what Donald Trump said. And it's because he must be projecting, DJ. He must be like you're sitting there watching, like, you got to be kidding me, right? Like, you realize who you are. And he does. That's why he's saying it. He's almost intimidated by it. Like, it's very funny to watch. And again, he's just laughing. He's just laughing all the way to the bank. Like, Graham Plattner didn't even. I don't think Graham Plattner set out to gain national attention for himself. It just happened to him. Like he really, I really believe he just wanted to fucking unseat he hated the fucking Democrats. He wanted to unseat Susan Collins, and he wanted to be the guy to do it. Cool. I don't think he was having national aspirations, but after this fucking cycle, he's a 2028 shoo-in, DJ.
Why not, right? Why not? Yeah, why not?
I wouldn't say recommend it for him, but like, why not? You know?
I wanted to comment on some of the comments here from Loves a Good Pig Roast 2, saying, I'm just wondering if this channel supports Jews or real human beings. Loves a Good Pig Roast, we support all human beings, which is why we're banning you. We don't do that often here. Not a lot of bans happen on this channel, but yeah, we're not going to have dehumanization of people based on race or ethnicity here. Actually, we do that all the time. We aren't going to have explicit dehumanization of people based on race and ethnicity on this account. If we did that to everyone who was like racist on this account, we would have nobody watching probably. But you know, this is one of the big schisms we have here in the United States is with Israel. On both sides of the aisle, from the Republicans and the Democrats and everything. And this is what's so annoying me with the Graham Plattner thing. I can't believe we spent so much time talking about Graham Plattner, but it's just it annoys me so much that I saw Republicans saying stuff like, can you believe they have this Nazi? This guy has a Nazi tattoo. It's okay for them to elect Nazis. And my response to them is, wow, folks, you can't call everyone you dislike a Nazi. That's not cool. Just because, you don't like what someone says, oh, that makes them a Nazi, huh? Got it. That's how this game works, right? That when Donald Trump had dinner with Nick Fuentes, that was nothing. That was cool, right? That was perfectly fine. That's just a guy you guys do not have to look far. You don't have to burn many calories to find white supremacist websites, white supremacist email lists, white supremacist speakers anywhere in the country right now. None of them are supporting Democrats, okay? None of them. All of their opinions, all of their policy positions, with one exception. There's one exception with that, and that is America's relationship with Israel. That's the only one. That is the only time you can find a difference between like standard Republican orthodoxy and white supremacist rhetoric, and that's causing a big split in the Republican movement. Where do you think that's going to end up, John? I think that's way more powerful than the Epstein one. I think the Epstein one is going to fizzle out eventually because, like I've said many times, I don't think we're ever going to see that list. I don't think no matter who the president is, I don't think if Graham Plattner became president, we'd ever see that list. It's just that that's going to fizzle out. People are going to be like, okay, what are you going to do? The Israel thing, not going anywhere. What do you think?
That's the thing. The Israel thing is such an interesting question because I don't really have a good answer for you, TJ. Because on one hand, I do think it's over for the U.S. relationship with Israel. Like it's still going to continue for a long time. Don't get me wrong, but the damage has been done, and they're just bleeding out at this point because everyone hates Israel. except for the people who really love it, the old heads, right? And you still have people who support Israel for whatever reason, but the cycle isn't. You're not putting that toothpaste back into the tube, and eventually the old heads will die out, and the average American opinion, even the people who don't hate Israel, are like, why the fuck are we spending so much money on them, right? And it's going to end. I just don't know which party is going to stop being stupid first and actually take up that mantle. Like whoever does is going to have a massive win, which based on an unforced error by the opposing party, and I don't know which one it is. I genuinely do not know whether Democrats or Republicans will be the first to officially be against Israel as a party. Because on one hand, the leftists, the progressives, we all fucking hate Israel. We probably hate them more than anyone else, including the anti-Semites. But, we never get listened to in our party. And the anti-Semites get listened to all the fucking time in the Republican Party. But also, it just seems like the Republicans would be the last party traditionally to actually do it. So I really don't know which one becomes the anti-Israel party first. But whoever does is going to be a big, easy political win for them.
I don't think it's happening anytime soon. I think it will happen eventually, where someone will do it. But Jimmy,
10 to 20 years somewhere in there, you'll have a major party.
Okay,
that does not
10, 20 years. Okay, I'm willing to buy that. That may be. It's not going to be everlasting, but. Jimmy Meyer says, because Israel's the only intel we have in the Middle East is not that complicated. Yeah, I think that when it comes to, global, international, and geopolitical, military politics and everything, Israel is such a vital resource to the United States that, yeah, they're going to back them. They're going to back them. Like, losing Israel as not only like an intelligence asset, but as potential operation for military movements and everything. It'd be huge. It'd be a huge loss for the United States, which is why we put up with so much bullshit from them. Like, this is where people talk about the wag the dog stuff that, Israel is actually, the anti-Semitic tropes controlling the string. I mean, no, not really. That's not really what's going on here. Like, we are the big dog there, but it's kind of like that old saying that, how's it go? If someone owes you a little bit of money, they've got a problem. But if they owe you a lot of money, you've got a problem. That's kind of how we are with Israel right now. That Israel is like our little project, and we're so sunk deep into them that we can't afford to let them go. And the pernicious part, the even more pernicious part, is that even when people speak out against them, that they have a lobbying arm in the United States government or in the United States political industry that can tank any dissenters. Anytime, like, the two largest monetary political campaigns for Congress ever were against Thomas Massey and Jamal Bowman, like two biggest ones. And I think we both know what happened there. There was like a lot of AIPAC funding where they flooded the market with ads, which is our own fault that we have Citizens United. I think that you can have a super PAC that can put essentially unlimited amounts of money into any campaign. Like campaigns that a few 100,000 people vote in, you're going to drop $500 million in there. Insane that should be allowed. Like, we could find some way to change that. Then maybe we could reduce the Israel, not just Israel lobby influences, but the lobbies from lots of different special interests. We could have a better, accurate representation of the people and weaken Israel's control on the nation. But till then, that's not going anywhere.
TJ, I want to ask you, because it is a good point that Jimmy brought up, and it's the one that I always hear. Israel is such an asset to the United States of America because the only power in the region that is our ally, and therefore they are very important to us. And I just want to ask the question of, why does it fucking matter? Why do we need an ally in a region that's incapable of attacking us ever? Why does that matter so much that it would be worth spending? And I understand, like, we're an imperial fucking nation. I understand that, and that those are the reasons why. But, like, is there like a legitimate reason why that might actually be valuable to us if we were not like an imperial state?
Yeah, because it's about spheres of influence. It's kind of like with Eastern Europe, how we were always, vying with the Soviet Union to try to get influence with we had first and second world nations. Well, for any people who don't know, we have first world, second world, and third world nations. First world nations were the United States and our allies. Second world nations were the Soviet Union and their allies. Third world nations were just nations that were up for grabs. It didn't mean they were poor, but they just happened to be poor most of the time. So that's why third world nation means poor right now. But for example, in the Middle East, like the reason you're right that we have imperial power in lots of these places. We have our bases in Qatar, we have them in Saudi Arabia, we have them in UAE, but those nations they're not controlled by us by any chance. Like they're not like proxy nations for us anyway. Israel in a lot of ways is. And what it is about the sphere of influence, like with Syria, for example, that why would we care who's in charge of Syria? Like why does it matter? But as long as we had our control, like with Assad working with, Assad wasn't our control, but if we did, their natural gas field would be a big boon for us. So like the more influence we have in the nation, the better control we have over oil and the resources there. Israel, I mean, it helps out. It certainly doesn't make it better for us if we have Israel, if we want to control, natural resources in that area. That's my best guess as to why that is. Yeah. Although it does come back to bite us a lot of times because Israel's interests turn into ours in a lot of ways, like with Iran. Like there's no reason that we should be attacking Iran unless Iran was at odds with Israel,
That's what I'm saying. Like it feels at this point, especially, it feels like we would be better served by just making the Saudis Israel. Like not that the Saudis are good people in any way, shape, or form.
Not necessary.
By the way, I mean the government. They're also horrible and commit atrocities, but like at least they're not so fucking loud about it. At least I'm pretty damn confident Saudi Arabia is going to drag us into a international war and cause the fucking price of gas to skyrocket. Like I don't think that's going to happen with the Saudis. And so if we want influence in that sphere, I feel like it should be up for sale at this point. Like I feel like there's a lot of Middle Eastern countries that would be like, give us the billions, please. We'll do whatever you say, and we can tell Israel to go fuck themselves. I saw Jimmy said it because Mossad has the best intelligence in the world, and it's like what? Who gives a shit? Like clearly, intelligence doesn't matter. I'm done pretending intelligence matters. Because we've had Tulsi Gabbard as our director of national intelligence for the past, and nothing's happened. Like what are we gonna do? Like I don't understand how this is so important that like we can't do it ourselves. It doesn't really make sense.
And you said, go ahead.
Like, if we stop giving Israel the money, pay whatever fucking talent they have over there to come over here, like the German scientists. Like I really don't understand what the problem there is here.
And you were talking about Saudi Arabia. That it's not like the good deal. And what I like too about Saudi Arabia is that they don't pretend to be. That is what I think flies in the most ways. Saudi Arabia doesn't pretend to be anything other than a theocratic ethno state that is brutal and dictatorial and will murder you for looking at them the wrong way, and they have the balls to admit it. They don't pretend to be these peaceful angels like Israel pretends to. I respect that about Saudi Arabia. The people are like the leadership is evil and they love it.
That's true. And Jimmy says another thing here. Jimmy, by the way, thank you for contributing. You've been a great guest for this show. But he says it's not Israel, it's Bibi. Same. It's not America, it's Trump. Same thing. Here's the thing, and I really hate to break this to you. It's not Trump, it's America. It's not Bibi, it is Israel. Like you can track this forever. Like when do you think America was like good? It's like we had slavery for a while. We had Jim Crow. There are Americans alive today, millions of Americans alive today, who were legally discriminated against by the government for their race. That's in people's lifetimes. So when did we stop? When did Trump become the problem and not America? America did a war of aggression against Vietnam. We're doing a war of aggression against Iran now. We've done war of aggression against Iraq. We've done many terrible things before Trump. Same with Israel. The fucking Nakba was a thing that happened well before Bibi was born.
Yeah. Well, maybe not born, but maybe not born.
Certainly, yeah.
Before he was an adult. So
it kind of is just it is a result of the power structures that be in these places. It's not the person who is in power. The person who is in power has a great deal of influence, do not get me wrong, but the power structures that be are what ultimately end up causing all of these nations' actions. And I'm sorry, it's not just Trump. We're going to have a terrible, fucking awful president after Trump, most likely. I guarantee you. Probably better than Trump, but it probably still won't be good.
Yeah, Jimmy, you were knocking them all out of the park. I don't think I agree with anything you said until that one too, because this is Trump is who we are. This is Donald Trump. Man, it's been, someone commented like 80 comments ago. Thanks for the comments, folks. We appreciate it. Someone commented 80 comments ago. Don't you guys ever get exhausted talking about politics all the time? Yes, we do. Yes, it is. Especially when it seems like things aren't going anywhere. I think it'll get better maybe post this election, because at least there'll be some light at the end of the tunnel where it seems like, oh, maybe people waking up. They probably won't, but we'll fall for the bait. We'll be Charlie Brown running for the football like always. But yeah, Donald Trump is the perfect president for the United States. He is vain, he is stupid, he is goofy, he's unintelligent, he's unredeemably
unbelievably narcissistic.
Well, yeah, and unjustifiably arrogant and a swindler. This is who we are. This is exactly who we are. And Benjamin Netanyahu is who Israel is. Look up any poll in Israel about what's going on in Gaza right now. Any poll from anybody, and you're going to see 70% of the voters in Israel say, yeah, we're doing everything just right. Another 15% will say, we haven't gone far enough, and then 5% will say, maybe we've gone a little bit too far. You will see polls of like a damn majority of Israelis saying, we need to kick out all Palestinians, not just from Gaza and the West Bank, but from Israel proper. It is horrifying shit. And that's no different than us. Like, we always talk about how much better we are. If you look at what the United States polling was back in the 30s, when Hitler was persecuting Jewish people in Germany, and said, should we accept Jewish refugees? 15%, 20% of people saying, yeah, overwhelmingly people were saying, no, that's terrible. If you look at, we didn't have national polls back then, but I guarantee if we did, you look in the 1870s and the 1880s, what the American thought process was with the indigenous people, the American Indians, and what we should do with them. Yeah, we should chase them out of the land, populate it ourselves. If we allow them to live at all, we should put them in reservations and, have these schools to civilize them and stuff like that. What's going to happen with Israel is the same thing that happens everywhere around the world, where human beings will go human being and go to war and wipe each other out like we're so good at. And then a few generations later say, oh, isn't that sad? Isn't it too bad that we did that? That really was awful, wasn't it? And John was talking about how United States of America, we pretend that we are this shining city on a hill, this enlightened bunch of folks. But man, black people weren't allowed to live in suburbs until 1970. 1970, like decades after the suburbs were established. I was born, 17 years after the civil rights movement, 17 years before I was born, black people did not have civil rights, okay? I mean, this is a par for the course of the United States of America. Like, one of the only reasons the civil rights movement was a success was, ironically, because of the Soviet Union, where we had so many black leaders like James Baldwin and Paul Robeson visiting the Soviet Union and saying, yeah, they treated me better in the Soviet Union than they did in the United States. That propaganda was great for the Soviet Union. It was great. And they said, okay, maybe we should help out here. Maybe we should just dial this down a bit. We can't have the Soviets outstripping it or outdoing us like that. Yeah, America is no better. We celebrate what happened in the past. In my old unit in North Carolina, we had, you guys love Army stories, I'm sure. We had, our unit insignia had 3 things on it. The one was a bushel of wheat, and that bushel of wheat was from Gettysburg, because my unit fought in Gettysburg. I was not there. Fought in Gettysburg back in the 1860s in the Civil War. And then it had the word audacia in front of it, which is Latin for by daring deeds. And then in the back, it had 12 or 13 arrows. And those arrows were from the Indian Wars in the 1880s, when the American military systemically destroyed native tribe. And this was in the 2000s, the 2010. We were still wearing those arrows proudly. Yeah, look what we did. Look how awesome this is by slaughtering all those Indians. This is who we are, man. Like, Donald Trump is not an aberration. He is a personification of who we are as a people.
That was very well put, TJ. And it almost feels like old hat to me at this point to say that. Like, when I hear other leftists like saying, "Oh, America's the bad guy," it has become trite to me. But it is insane, like when you go out into the real world, how no one understands that. Like, it's so clear and obvious, TJ. It's so clear and obvious how awful we have been as a country. We've committed genocide, ethnic cleansing, chattel slavery. It's just unbelievably horrific. But people deny it. Like, people genuinely deny that we're an awful country. And here's the thing. When I say stuff like that, I always get people saying, "Oh, well, you should take pride in your country." And here's the thing. If you take pride, you also have to acknowledge the flaws, or else you just become an insane person. Like, if I take pride in my job and I said I've never done anything wrong in my professional career, you'd think I'm a crazy person, But like, for whatever reason, we just can't do that. We can't admit our horrific mistakes that we have made, and not even mistakes, horrific intentional actions that our country has taken and continues to take right now in this very moment. It's always some minor. It's always, it was in the past. It was some other people doing. No, it's us. It is us. And until each and every one of us recognizes that it is us. And yes, me and TJ too. You too, if you feel like you are some above this moral high ground, high horse, leftist progressive, you also contribute to the imperial machine. You also, in many ways, help inflict a great deal of harm onto humanity. And that does not mean that you don't also, in many ways, and probably in more ways, I would hope, create good for humanity. But if you just want to ignore the bad, like that's how bad things get far worse. And that's why we've never stopped doing such evil, horrific things.
Yeah. That's all we ask for, by the way. Like, honestly, taking pride in something someone else did is already kind of suspicious. It's like very suspicious. Yeah, it's like that's right. You didn't do shit. Okay, you happen to be born here. And look, if you want to emulate the positive actions from people in the past, you don't have to limit it to your country. By the way, you can do it with any person on earth. I don't know you, but look, yeah, national pride means something to people. Maybe it shouldn't, but it does, right? I enjoy being an American. I don't want to be anything else, so I can kind of understand that. But just be honest with yourselves. But that's all we ask for. Just be honest and saying, yeah, there were good things. Thomas Jefferson is my go-to example of this. He's the easiest one, where I don't have to say that. Like, when I say I admire Thomas Jefferson, I can say I admire his Virginia Statute on religious freedom, which is the basis for the First Amendment of the United States of James Madison. I can be proud of the work that he did while he was Secretary of State, Vice President, President of the United States, his work at the Continental Army, his authoring of the Declaration of Independence. Yeah, great. No, 5 out of 5 stars, no problem. But it's like, oh, the child rapist part, no. That part I'm not on board with. I don't need to pretend that didn't happen or get mad at people when they bring it up. That's insane. Like, Thomas Jefferson doesn't get a pass for his evil deeds because of his good ones. That's all we're saying. And that if you want to share in the pride of the nation, you have to share in the shame as well. That's just how this works. It's just called being fair. Jimmy Myers commented, John, you're getting a lot of comments on, I can't even see what's on your wall, but I think he's talking to you. He says, well, actually, you have the greatest Jew-fro in history on your wall, Garfunkel. Do you have Art Garfunkel on your wall somewhere?
I do. I don't even see it on my frame.
How do you see that? Yeah, that's amazing.
He's over there. He's right there. But
damn, okay.
My screen is different. Oh, wait. Okay, on the vertical one, it's a little bit wider, so you can.
Oh, okay, the vertical one. Okay, all right. Okay, maybe that's it. I was like, damn, how do I see that anywhere?
the wall getting a lot of shout outs today, D.
Getting a lot of love. I don't have any random Art Garfunkel facts. I don't know who his dad is, so I don't know if Art Garfunkel had a black dad. Maybe that's why he had a great Jew-fro or whatever. But maybe
that would be hilarious.
I don't know. I do like Jew-fros. I do like
Deshaun Garfunkel.
Deshaun Garfunkel. Oh my God, this is incredible. Yeah, so I don't know anything here, but Oh, kind of right off course. No, but yeah, if you want to take pride in the country, fine. Feel free to do so. But just be honest about the founders and our actions and our evil deeds as well as our positive ones. Because once you start pretending that there are no flaws in your nation, you support everything we do. You end up like Trump supporters, where they say we don't want war with Iran. Trump says no more new wars. But once he does it, you clap like a seal for it. Just like you guys fucking did with Iraq, just like you did with everything else. They just never seem to learn the lesson. That's why these people, like the Republican Party, no joke, is the most dangerous element of human civilization right now. I think the Republican Party it brings us steps closer to not only economic, military, environmental apocalypse every single day without standing for anything at all. All they stand for right now, especially, is, oh, what does Donald Trump want? What does Donald Trump say? And we're all for it. I don't know what's going to happen when Trump dies, but it's going to be messy.
And the thing is, they don't even like fucking listen to the guy. Like they must not. Like again, we say this all. There's always a thing where I'm like, this must be the line, guys. But when he held up that fucking board, comparing the height of skyscrapers to the length of the reflecting pool that, by the way, he did not build and just repainted.
Did you
how
see?
Do you defend that shit, T? Like, how does anyone with a brain defend that shit ever?
Did you see the painting? Like, it looks exactly the same. Have you seen the videos of it since it's been done? To me, I can't tell the difference at all, because he kept hyping it up that it's like a dark colored reflecting pool. Like, it looks like a mirror basically. But Trump said, I don't like that. The pool should be blue, like a community swimming pool. And he kept retreating AI images of the pool being crystal blue. No, it's like a dark black blue, just like before. It's like, what was the point of all that? It could have been something he just did and didn't talk about. That's like a normal president, right? It's like, oh, someone repaint the pool. So, find someone to get on that, but Trump had to make everything a big deal. And now it's a big deal to Republicans. They can't just leave it alone. So, yeah, why the fuck would I care about the pool? Who cares? Like I do, but Trump's do it, so they have to kind of run with it.
And it's funny. I see a lot of Republicans being like, oh, it is a good move by Trump. I will say this, because it brings back Trump 1.0 and the resist libs, and like he does
this.
The Kennedy Center is another example. There's been a couple other
the Rose Garden. The Rose Garden was one.
Random projects that don't matter. They don't matter.
No,
not matter. Nothing he does with the fucking reflecting pool matters. Nothing he does with the Kennedy Center matters. It doesn't matter one little bit. And you might say to me, but John, of course it matters. It's symbolic of his utter narcissism. Yet shut the fuck up. If that mattered, if that mattered to anyone, we would have already known. Like the fucking Trump Kennedy Center isn't. Trump putting his name on a building is not going to change anyone's mind about the character of Donald J. Trump. It's just not going to happen. So you putting time into this and saying things like, oh, well, yeah, it's actually not going to work. It's going to be a bunch of waste of money. It's not even going to work. And then the pool ends up looking exactly the same. Yeah,
exactly
you're going to have egg on your face. It's a total unintentional own goal of you care. Like he made you care, and it looks bad that you care. And the fact that you don't understand the game being played on you is why you need to get the fuck out of politics, because the moment has left for you to be effective.
Yeah, this is the only one that maybe you guys like, the ballroom one. The ballroom one is
a little bit different. Like that one is
different, little bit because mainly because
too much airspace to it, but it's a little bit different.
It is, especially because when he first talked about it, he said that I'm getting this money to create a new ballroom. Every president has wanted a ballroom for the last 100 years. You've never heard it, but every president has wanted a new ballroom, and I'm raising money from people you don't know. They're donating money, but wait a minute, who are these people? This is important. Like, I want to know where this mysterious money is coming from, but don't worry about it. It's all gonna be taken care of. And then, just kidding, I need $1 billion for it. And actually, Congress grew some balls and said no. That kind of surprised me. I did not expect them to. I didn't expect them to put up as much of a fight with the ballroom money, because I saw several congressmen, Republicans, saying, yeah, he asked for $1 billion, but I don't possibly know what for. He said it's for security, but there no building in the world needs $1 billion worth of security. What is he talking about? Like, we haven't seen blueprints. We haven't seen anything. I was shocked to hear that. And push back on the 1776 slush fund that he had. They pushed back on both of those. I was pretty surprised. But we're running out of time here. Shit, I forgot to bring this up, John. This is about Warren. Go ahead.
Before you get into that, I think the reason they push back on the ballroom is because it's a little too gay for them. A little too gay. They're like a ballroom. I don't think so, buddy.
Come on, man.
Like we're fine with your vanity and all that. We look the other way, but we can't look the other way for a giant fucking eyesore of a ballroom. That is way too gay for us.
Oh, a part of me hopes he does build it, man. A part of me really hopes he builds it.
Part of me hopes it just never gets built, and whoever the next president is just inherits this fucked up
hole in the ground, just a hole,
and they have to do something with it. They're gonna have to do something.
You gotta do something with it, yes. And it's like, man,
if he does build it, and it's a Democrat, they better tear it the fuck down. They better raise it to the ground or turn it into a fucking orphanage.
Yeah, burning it to the ground would I think that'd be a waste, literally a waste of equipment, material, and manpower. But you could convert it into something else. Do whatever you want with it. But
a center for immigrant children or something.
Yes, So, all right, this is Donald Trump, I think. This is one of those rare times when I didn't preview the clip ahead of time, but I think this is Trump talking about his plans with the Iran war.
Look, my preference has always been take Cargisland. That's been, Brian knows that. I spoke to him a long time ago. Lawrence knows it. I spoke to him a long time ago. I said my preference would be that. I don't know that America has the stomach for it, to be honest with you. You're going to make a fortune. But I don't know that America has the stomach. I think they'd like to see us come home. But we did it with Venezuela. Venezuela's worked out great for everybody. We've taken millions and millions of barrels of oil out of Venezuela. We brought them to Houston and various other places, Louisiana, where refineries that we have that are incredible. They're 24 hours a day, making a fortune. And, I like that in this case too. But I'm not sure that America has a long time. It's a little longer process, something that's a guarantee if I want to do it.
Mr. President,
but I'm not sure the country has the appetite for it. Does that make sense to you?
I understand where
as good as it is. By the way, as good as it is, that's always been the number one thing. But as good as it is, I'm not sure the country has the appetite for it, and it's okay. I understand that.
Ooh, not a strong sounding Donald Trump right there. Him saying that, man, I really want to expand this war. I really want to take over this island, but man, I don't know if the nation has the political will to do it. And it's not that just the nation doesn't have political will to do this. We don't. But you would need to do a hell of a lot more. This is the show that's been saying for years now that the worst thing the United States military could ever do would be to attack Iran, and we're being proven right every single day. The United States military could take over Cargisland if they wanted. It wouldn't be that much trouble. Like we already got naval presence there. We got Marines there. They could take over Cargisland tomorrow morning if they wanted. The only problem is that every military person on that island would be a sitting fucking duck. The Iranians the next day. They would just carpet bomb them with drones and airstrikes day after day after day. Sure, you might be cutting off a lot of economic support for the Iranians, but you would be sentencing sailors and Marines to their death within 24 hours. And, admirals know that. That's like, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to send all of our guys to die to get a PR victory for you. That will be temporary because all our guys will be dead the next day. The only way you can do it is if you did a full ground invasion of Iran and took over all of their infrastructure, then took over Cargisland, which that's what the American people don't have the stomach for, is another ground invasion of Iran, which we wouldn't win anyway, I want to add.
And by the way, if you do take over Cargisland, you are now signaling to the world economy that Iran oil exports aren't going to be back for another 4 to 5 years.
Yeah.
Price that into the markets, why don't you? And that is also bad. Like that and Trump is right. Like if we were to actually have the goal of taking over Iran, the first thing you would do, well, first you would take the landmass around, and then you would take Cargisland. But like Peter just said, but like that is part of the plan. It's just nobody wants to take over Iran. Like nobody actually wants that except Donald Trump, who thinks he's playing a game of Civ. Like that. Like that's the entire reason why I was reading a political article today, and it was like a strategist. I forget who exactly it was, but they were like, Donald Trump's strategy doesn't make any sense. Either he's attacking Iran to because he believes it's the right thing to do, or he's not. And if he is, why does he care about the political will of the American people? He clearly hasn't up to this point, because no one has wanted any part of this the entire time. So either just do it or don't. This sitting in the middle ground is making you look bad and winning you nothing. So why do it? And I feel like that's probably the best summation of the entire fucking war here, is that, yeah, we are in the worst of all possible worlds by playing this middle ground where we just remain at war, but don't actually go to war, but kind of still stay in war, and we all pay for it.
Hooray! This is great. This is gonna be great for us, ourselves, and our posterity. Weird comment from Cliff here saying there will be no ground invasion. I agree. He says the CIA took over Iran in 1979. The CIA lost control of Iran in 1979. They took over Iran in like 1953. Is that what you meant? I think you are confusing the revolutions there, but I don't know. Oh, John, I can't. What's on Tuesday? We didn't do a show on Tuesday. We can do it, but I want to try to do one on Tuesday. Do you know who Mehdi Hassan is, or Patrick Bet-David? Do those names mean anything to you?
I love Mehdi Hassan. Patrick Bet-David, I know the name of, but I'm drawing a blank on a face.
He's a right-wing host. He's an Iranian American. He hosts this show. It's called Valuetainment or something. He's always talking like this, and he's always trying to make these right-wing arguments, this goofy shit. But Mehdi Hassan went on his show and embarrassed him, and it was like Dave Rubin being destroyed by the liberal kids or whatever. But I want to find some clips of that. We only have 2 minutes left here. But I brought that up because Rooster Cogburn 7243. John, have you ever seen True Grit? Either one. Have you ever seen the original True Grit or the remake?
I have seen the original. I've not seen the remake.
The original True Grit. I bring that up, folks, because Rooster Cogburn is the name of the main character in True Grit, and Robert Duvall plays like a sheriff, or no, he doesn't play. He plays an outlaw. He plays an outlaw cowboy. And True Grit came out like in the early 70s or something like that, I think. And I'm not, a historian here, but I think the earliest mention I can find the term "bust a cap" comes from Robert Duvall in True Grit, where Rooster Cogburn has this 16-year-old girl he's trying to help find. I can't remember actually what he's trying to help her find something, and he's pissing Robert Duvall off, and he says, "I've never busted a cap in a 16-year-old before." He has a gun pointed at it. I was like, man, I never would have guessed that busting a cap came from a cowboy, let alone someone like Robert Duvall. But anyway, the comment here was 6,600 white South Africans have been granted refugee status in the last 6 months. This is something Trump is doing. Mehdi Hassan brought this up. He was trying to argue that Donald Trump is a racist. By the way, an argument that I don't bother having, honestly, because whenever you say that someone is a racist, the argument quickly devolves into reading someone's mind and saying, is this person actually a racist, instead of talking about what they did. So I always try to say, well, this policy is disproportionately affecting that's much better, because I don't feel like arguing about reading someone's heart and mind. But he brought up the fact that Trump was a racist, and Patrick Davis said, no, he's not. And he said, listen, Donald Trump has allowed something like 6,603 refugees into the United States since he's been president. 6,600 of them are white South Africans. 3 of them are Afghans. He's like, why is that? He's the first, because Patrick David, his family were refugees too. And he's like, he would never have let you in. He only lets white people in. Why is that? Why are 99.999% of all refugees he's let in white people from one country without facing discrimination? It's a great clip. We'll find those later.
We can definitely talk about that on Tuesday, where we will be back at 6:35 EST. I saw Jimmy. I didn't star your comment, but you said basically thanks for the conversation. I just want to welcome you to talk with us again on Tuesday, where we'll be answering questions. Did you want to do a TikTok live on Tuesday?
Yes.
Okay, so we will be on TikTok on Tuesday at 6:35 EST. Make sure to join us there. Follow me and TJ, Powers Not Taken, Not Given, and Counterpoint Politics on TikTok, and watch us live at 6:35. And if we're able to, we'll have people on the show to talk to us, Sports Talk Radio style.
Love it. All right, I'll catch you guys next time. You know what's weird, John?